Hi everybody, Dan Oman here, reminding you the DRF's Breeders' Cup package is all your handicapping essentials for racing's championship event. Includes DRF all-access PPs, clocker reports, betting strategies, and lots more. Get your package today at shop.drf.com.
Hey everyone, Ashley Mailloux and Mike Beer here with the Daily Racing Forum. Big weekend out ahead at Del Mar Friday and Saturday with two loaded cards, a lot of wagering opportunities. And Mike, we're going to focus in on the late pick 5 on Future Stars Friday. It gets kicked off in race number 6, the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. And as we look at the slate, just always curious to pick your brain on this sequence. What were your overall thoughts?
I thought it was actually pretty tough, particularly. I feel like the first leg and the last leg are going to be the two toughest ones to get through. I have opinions sort of against the favorites maybe in the two dirt races, so we'll see how that all plays out.
All right, so as we mentioned, we're going to kick it off here. 5 furlongs on the turf course for these 2-year-olds, the Juvenile Turf Sprint. And kind of looking at some horses here on the morning line, it's a little spread out. Obviously, there's 2 horses on the shorter side of things, that being the 2 Asterius, as well as the number 8 in this field at 7-2. Who did you land on in here? Were there any horses that you thought maybe at a short price you could toss?
Yeah, I didn't really, I wouldn't say I felt very comfortable tossing anybody in here. I just feel like a lot of different horses can win. I'm not even sure who the favorite's going to be. The Japanese horse, the number 8, of course, Sieg. I mean, I like both of his races. I don't know that I'd be willing to take a short price on him, and he is the morning line favorite. I don't know, man. I feel like the horse that I was most interested in was the 4 Magnum Force, who is going to be a price in here. I'm using him. Big Mojo, who goes for the connections that won this race last year. I like his form, and I'm using him. And I thought Whistle Jacket, for Aiden O'Brien, I thought he was, just sort of a logical horse. I don't love him, but I probably wouldn't get knocked out by him, Ashley. The long shot for me that I'm going to throw into this race is the number 11 Gate to Wire for Pletcher. I just really liked his debut, and I thought he had excuses in his most recent start.
Yeah, he's a big price, 30-1, blinkers on, and just his 3rd career start. And you mentioned a couple horses that were 2nd and 3rd last time out in that race. A couple of these horses exit out of Doncaster. I actually like Asterius. I think he makes a lot of sense here on maybe the shorter side of things in terms of prices. And then we haven't mentioned him in terms of his races at this point. We've never gotten anywhere close to 12-1, but the 10 Governor Sam. Your thoughts on him? Obviously, he hasn't jumped into graded stakes waters, but his races at 5.5 make you think getting back to 5/8 might be okay, but there's a ton of speed. It's a turf sprint.
It feels like there's a lot of speed in here, but he's really fast. He was on my ticket for a few minutes, and then I just left him off because I didn't want to put some kind of big number up there. Could easily use this horse. He is one of the ones I'd probably wait and see if that 12-1 or something like that holds. He's really fast, actually. I really liked his most recent start in particular. That race at Keeneland did all the hard work in there and still prevailed. So I could easily see using that horse, especially at the price.
All right, we'll move on to the second leg of the sequence, race number 7, Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Phillies, mile and a 16th on the dirt. And let's just dive right into a replay here. It's going to actually involve a couple horses that exit the Grade 1 Alcibiades at Keeneland. And we're going to look at Immersive, who is 3-1 on the morning line, has post 3 here in the Juvenile Phillies. And your takeaways on her thoughts. Quick Kick is also in this race. She ends up being a length and a quarter behind the winner, Immersive. But I thought this was a nice performance. Obviously, a filly that's been able to string together 3 consecutive performances that have ended in trips to the winner's circle.
Yeah, a couple of grade 1s in there. And she also has that, it's a very valuable that the 2-turn win already for her. So she just has a lot going for her. She's not a standout on form anyway, not on figures. I just think she's really good. I gave her extra credit just for having to deal with fast paces in both of the grade 1 wins. I just like the way that she kept them in range and still finished. I think it's a good sign for her. To be honest, Ashley, I was all about the number 7 non-compliant in this race. I probably would have singled her if she was in, but she is scratched by Baffert. So, it just leaves me with it. Now I will use Immersive. I wasn't going to originally. I'll use her over the other morning line favorite, Scottish Lassie. I'm not going to be surprised when Scottish Lassie is good and maybe the best horse, but she beat a horrendous field in that grade 1 at Saratoga last time. And so I'm just going to make her beat me from post 10. The other horse for me is the 4, Lacara. I think she's underrated. I think she fits here. I'm using her.
You stole my thunder. I think Lacara is interesting just for the fact that last time out, that's the 1-turn mile at Churchill. She closed from the back of the pack, and the way that she did it, I thought was really professional-like. And now she has those 2 back-to-back wins. Obviously, the question will be the distance, but I just think looking at her pedigree, this is what she's born to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. She's brought, yeah, the stretch out's not supposed to affect her. I like that she broke her maiden on the lead and then she came from off the pace last time. She's got a little bit of adaptability, which is a good thing for a 2-year-old filly.
All right, we'll move on to the 8th race, third leg of the sequence, the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Phillies Turf. So we're going to flip-flop here on surfaces. 1 mile is the distance, and a big field here has been assembled, and I felt like, I don't know, there were horses that didn't necessarily enamor me last time out, say at the 1.16 trip, and now they're going to cut back. Maybe they have a shot, but I feel like there were a lot of horses in here that were kind of just okay. They're very good horses, but for me, there were a couple that really stood out more than others. How about you?
Yeah, I think that's I think we maybe kind of looked at it the same way. My first thought about this race is I'm kind of disappointed that O'Brien shipped Lake Victoria over for this race because there's a chance that she's just too good for these horses. You know, undefeated, already a multiple Group 1 winner, and then she gets a great post on the inside with Ryan Moore. I'm kind of disappointed that she's here because maybe she's just going to win at a short price. I have her on my ticket, but what I really, to me, I'm all about the number 9 in this race, Kilman. I'm betting her in this race. I'm going to have to use her with the 1. I'm going to play most of my multi-race wagers through her. I just think she's really good, and she's bred to stretch out, and she's going to be a price in here, and she's the horse I'm trying to make money with in this race.
Yeah, and I think you're going to get a good price just for the fact that when she won on debut sprinting at Ellis, then they tried her on Kentucky Downs, and we talk about this all the time. Kentucky Downs is a little bit of a, I don't know, enigma in terms of a turf course. It's just very different. The speed was there, and she was able to close. So I think she'll be probably flying under the radar in this spot. Got to talk about thought process, and we can show her most recent effort in the Grade 3 Surfer Girl. And obviously, she did everything right. She finally made the lead early, and it just was much the best in here. And Tigerish ends up being third. What are your takeaways from her, knowing that she's 2 for 2 now at Del Mar and she's done it easy?
Yeah, I think she's really good. I mean, she looks really good. She's got figures. I know she had all the best of it here, loose on the lead, but she threw a 22 and change at him on the back end. I think she's a really talented horse. The only problem I had with her, and again, you have to kind of see how the wagering all shakes out, which you're not going to get to do, unfortunately, in the pick 5. But if I'm using Lake Victoria, I'm not also using Thought Process. They're the 2 favorites in this race, and I'm certainly not using both of them. But listen, Thought Process, can she win? Absolutely. I like all 3 of her races.
All right, and really quickly, I just want to toss out a price play. I thought the 6 Virgin Colada was interesting. This is a horse that's going to cut back a little bit for Chad Brown, was able to win on debut. And I know she's come up short in her last 2, Mike, but I think when you go to the race 2 back at Saratoga, no pace to run into. She got a little bit of pace help last time out. I just wonder, in terms of trip, if Flavian can have her a little bit closer to the action, if she could at least get a piece in here, if not score maybe a big upset.
Agree with all that. I liked her debut a lot. I think she's been pace compromised in both of her stakes races, and I actually think she ran well in both of those races. Maybe she gets a little bit more to run at in here. Listen, if you get 20 to 1 on the morning line with a Chad Brown horse in this race, just take it.
Yeah, take it and run. We'll move to the 4th leg of the sequence, race number 9, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and 1.16 miles on the dirt. We'll dive right into the replays here, and I pulled the replays for the 2 horses that are low on the morning line. First off, East Avenue and the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland. This is a horse that's now, Mike, been able to string 2 back-to-back wins, gets the lead each time, and just draws clear. I mean, what are your impressions of this horse to date?
I mean, I guess there's no telling how good he is, right? I mean, I'll throw that back to you, Ashley. I mean, obviously, this horse is really good. He's fast. He's got the rail here. That race we just looked at right there, the Grade 1, seemed like kind of a speed track there at Keeneland. Did you take any points away from him for that, or do you not care about that?
I wonder if that pokes a little bit of a hole in him right here. If you're trying to bet against him, I feel like in terms of a ticket, he's a must use on a ticket. I'd rather use him honestly over Chancer McPatrick, but I do agree. I think that the track did play a little well to speed, but just to see how easily he still drew clear and the number that he popped, I think he demands respect. And I mentioned it, Chancer McPatrick, I'm going to go against. We'll show his most recent performance. It was in the Champagne. Now, this was going a mile. And again, he's another one that comes in here with an impressive resume. He's taken a step forward with each of, his races in terms of a figure. But, how do you rate him off of what he's seen in New York so far?
I think he's really good. I am concerned about him stretching out around 2 turns just without very much early speed. So I'm just worried about what kind of trip he's going to be able to pull, especially from the outside post. I think he's really good. I feel like you and I kind of evaluate these 2 favorites similarly, though. I'd rather use the 1 than the 10. And even though East Avenue was on a favorable track last time, I still like the way that he looked winning that race.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it best. The big thing with Chancer McPatrick is taking that wild card of stretching around 2 turns. It's so different. We see so many horses that the 1-turn mile works, the 2-turn mile doesn't work. Now he's got to go 2 turns. He has to go a mile and a 16th. But outside of these two, anyone else in here catch your eye, maybe at a decent price?
Yeah, I mean, I could use Jonathan's Way. I didn't want to really give him short shift. I like both of his races, and I felt like maybe he would not get as much respect as some of the others in here. So I could use him at the right price. The horse for me is number 7, Gaming. You know, I don't know why they didn't run him in the 2-turn prep, but his 2 sprint starts to me are really, really good performances. He looks like to me he's going to stretch out, and even though they didn't run him in the American Pharoah, the 2-turn prep, it's not like they stopped on him, so I don't think there was an issue. This horse has done nothing but breeze for Baffert since then. He's got 6 works on the way into this. They're all good ones. I'm betting this horse.
All right, similar thought process. I like a little bit of a price directly to his inside, the stablemate, Citizen Bull. This is a horse that I did not like last time out. Was pretty impressed with his performance. Yes, he made the lead, was able to prevail, but that wasn't something we necessarily saw from him. I thought 2 starts back, he tried to close, and, you know, you're right, Gaming was able to close and wasn't too, you know, in a different position early on and still got the job done. But he seems like a horse, when I watch kind of those breakfast work shows, he seems like he's handling everything really good. So I'd use him. He's 10-1. So we both like the Bafferts a little bit as maybe potential upsets. So we'll move on to the final race of the sequence, and it's the nightcap on Friday, race number 10, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Mile here for these 2-year-olds. And huge field. You said it earlier, Mike, might need some coverage here in this last leg.
Just didn't think, I don't know, maybe you have a different take on it, Ashley. I just didn't think there were any standouts in here. I found it hard to really fall in love with anybody in this field. The horse that I wound up being most interested in is the 3, Noble Confessor. This horse is a maiden still on the way into this race, which doesn't thrill me, but I think he was best in his turf debut last time, the Pilgrim up in New York. You know, the trip to me just didn't work out for him. I think he ran the best race that day. He's bred to be a turf horse. They finally got him on the surface, and I thought he ran a winning race last time. And it feels like he's going to be a price in here. So that was good enough for me, but I would use a few others in this race as well. I just didn't really feel like I had a great handle on this race.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. And probably, you know, as I look at it, if I wanted to add a couple horses, I certainly could. I went for horses maybe with a little bit better price than, say, the 11 New Century, who I was really impressed with that performance at Woodbine, but I thought Al Qudra, the 4, had some trouble in that race. I think this horse could take a step forward. So when I see 4-1 and 5-2, that's why I used the 4. I decided to toss the 11 when I looked at others as well. Sorry, I did use the 11. I misspoke there. When I did look at that race, though, and kind of try to figure out, Dream On is the horse that I don't use in there. And the only price horse that I wondered about, who's probably post-compromised in here, and it sounds crazy, is the 14, Tenacious Leader. Just seeing that this horse was forward and had a really good turf effort. I know he broke his maiden on the dirt at Saratoga. It was supposed to be on the turf, so he didn't really face much then. But his turf race to me was just sneaky good, and seeing Irad Todd 15-1 in a race like this, I thought he was a little bit of an upset contender, maybe a reach for the top spot.
Yeah, he's got a tough post though. Yeah, you're right though. He's got a lot in common with his stablemate, the one that I like, Noble Confessor. They both ran against that Chad horse, and they both made that horse run a little bit to the end. It's unfortunate for this horse that he's drawn out there. I'm just going to throw one more horse because I agree with you with Al Qudra and New Century. I mean, I could use them both. I think they're logical in here. One other horse that I want to throw in that's shipping over is the 7, Seagull's 11. Distance, he might be distance challenged a little bit, but this horse to me is going to love the tight 2 turns here in the quick turf course at Del Mar. He's got a lot of speed, and if he can pull the right trip in here, I think this horse is going to be around at the end.
That's an important thing, too, when you look at the Euros in general. I think some of them prefer firmer ground. They don't have as many opportunities overseas with the weather, and he's one that I would make a case maybe he didn't like the soft going last time we saw him. So those are the 5 races in that late Pig 5 sequence. We will take a look at our tickets, and in terms of tickets, I went a little bit light, like I said. Maybe I should add that last race. I agree with you. I think that was wide open. I thought the first race as well. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint, I always struggle with, so I took some coverage. I think hot takes in the ticket. I don't use Chancer McPatrick. I'm going to go against him, as I mentioned. And I got a little bit skinnier in the Juvenile Phillies. As I mentioned, Immersive, I really like based on what we've seen in those 3 starts to date, but I thought the number 4, Lacara, was a horse to also use. So a light ticket for me, just $54 for that 50-cent minimum. And now it's time for your ticket, Mike, if you want to walk through it.
Yeah, I think we sort of have some similar opinions. Though I have no chance for McPatrick on there either. I don't have the favorite in the Juvenile Phillies either. Scottish Lassie, obviously she can win, but I'm happy to lose to her in that race. I have Lucara in there, like you do. Really, I feel like the races that I'm going to be pressing in here are the race 8 and race 9. Again, mostly kill win for me in that Juvenile Phillies Turf. I really want to lean on her, and I really want to lean on Gaming in the Juvenile. I know it's not going to be easy for him to win that race, but I've liked that horse from day one. I'm kind of married to him, and I'm going to try to make money with that horse.
You should get a good price. I believe he's 8-1 on the morning line. So $96 ticket for Mike Beer. Don't forget, this is for Friday, Future Stars Friday out at Del Mar. They have a 10-race program with the last 5 races being those Breeders' Cup races. Best of luck.
Hey, let me give you a hot tip. If you liked the content that you've seen before, click on the like and subscribe button right here. And of course, for more DRF videos like Race of the Days, stakes previews, click on the videos right here.